A massive IT glitch has crashed computer systems around the world. Airports, hospitals and businesses have all been affected with computers shut down or just unable to access networks. The main reason, an outage in Microsoft's cloud services and related apps. Travel disruptions have been the most obvious consequence of the global IT failure. Airports stretching from the US to Australia and including India, the UAE, Singapore, Hong Kong and Malaysia all saw their booking systems fail, forcing staff to check in passengers manually. Scenes of confusion at many arrival halls as flights were cancelled or delayed. Our major American carriers grounded planes for hours due to communication issues. Airlines in Europe also suspended most of their operations. Microsoft says the underlying problem has been fixed for 365 apps and services, but warned that some customers may still experience issues. This problem has only affected Windows computers, many showing the infamous blue screen of death. Now, CrowdStrike has admitted that its software update caused the glitch. The CEO of the cybersecurity platform says a defect was found in a content update for Windows computers and has deployed a fix for this issue. The company also stressed it was not hit by a cyber attack. And our correspondents are keeping track of this global IT outage here in Singapore. Sherlyn Sia monitoring the situation from Changi Airport. Deborah Wong will give us the latest from Hong Kong, and Neha Punya is in the Indian capital, New Delhi. Let's get to Sherlyn Sia in Singapore first. Sherlyn, how bad are disruptions at Changi Airport?
Well, it's been several hours of frustration and exasperation for hundreds of the passengers here, practically, stuck in limbo as they wait to even get checked in for their flights here. And I understand from the airport that at least 10 airlines have been affected. And for why exactly it's such a huge problem here is because that Changi Airport uses quite a lot of these self-service check-in counters, and these are automated systems that use the Microsoft system that has been disrupted. So when many of the passengers try to check in using these counters, they get faced with an error message and are directed to the manual check-in counters. And for many of the airlines here, that is compounded by the fact that many of the low-cost carriers here, for example, Scoot Air Asia, they rely heavily on these automated systems. So compounded by the fact that, they have more than 5 flights within the span of just 2 hours. Passengers here, the queues have been snowballing as they wait to get redirected to the manual counters. And for example, Scoot, where I just was, the staff have been quick to action. They've been putting out whiteboards, listing out each flight line by line and redirecting them to which manual counter they should go to. But understandably, some passengers were still quite angry and frustrated. They were worried that they would miss their flights because they have to wait at least, dozens that in front of them in queues. But some others were quite calm as they were told to wait aside for a moment before getting attended to. But for more, let's hear from what some of the passengers had to say.
我们来到这边是2点啦，然后我们要排队去登记的时候，他的电脑全部坏了，所以我们就在这边等咯。等几个小时了？等差不多2个小时多了。
We are experiencing right now a flight delay, and we arrived here at around 2 p.m. We are now waiting for about 4 hours.
But even as we speak, queues here at Terminal 1, where I was just at, are still snaking, with many flights still due to depart in just a few hours tonight. But the Changi Airport management has said that they are monitoring the situation closely and have deployed additional resources to make sure that all these manual check-ins are still accounted for and effectively done so. And for the passengers, they've also been assured that they will not miss their flight, or in the worst case scenario that they do, they will get the proper arrangements made for them. And we'll bring you the latest as they come.
And thanks for that. Latest out from Sherlyn Sia reporting live from Singapore. And let's head to Hong Kong next. Deborah Wong. Now she joins us live. Deborah, Hong Kong Airport also badly hit by this IT outage. How are authorities coping there?
So the airport authority made clear that flight operations are not affected, but when the outage happened, self-service cures at the airport, Hong Kong station, as well as Kowloon station, where there are city check-ins, they all became unavailable. There are long lines at counters at the airport, angry voices all across as well. People are understandably frustrated because local media have been reporting that some passengers were actually standing in line for close to 6 hours, and the issue is especially worrying for those with connecting flights because when they get to the counters, the check-in staff have to write down all these details by hand, and that is taking a lot of time. But the authorities are trying to defuse the situation. Early in the afternoon, security personnel were deployed around the airport to try and contain the situation. Staff have also been sent out to hand out refreshments to very frustrated passengers. Hong Kong-based carriers, Cathay Pacific, Hong Kong Express, as well as Hong Kong Airlines, they have issued advisories for travelers to head to the airport about 3 hours in advance if they intend to check in their baggage. As of 5:45 p.m., we saw on their website that some self-check-in services are now up and running. However, baggage drop-offs are still down. But passengers then have to figure out how to rebook some flights because, when we tried to access some of the booking systems on these websites, they were not available as well. So it looks like it's going to be a long wait. However, other public systems in Hong Kong appear to be running smoothly. And I like to point out also, it is quite interesting because I just returned from mainland China at about 7 p.m. and everything in China, in mainland China, appears to be running quite smoothly. And this fact is not lost on a lot of Chinese netizens because on Chinese social media, people were pointing out that most of China as well as Chinese companies, they were unaffected because many of them do not depend on Microsoft systems. And, some even use this example to emphasize the need for China to develop its own operating system. So that's interesting to know as the rest of the world is dealing with this issue right now.
Thanks for pointing that out as well. And updates there from Deborah Wong in Hong Kong. And we check on India now. Neha Pune, she joins us live from New Delhi. Neha, as we just heard from Singapore and Hong Kong correspondents, a lot of disruption in airports. Disruption in India as well seems to be concentrated on airlines, what's happening at airports. But brokerages in India also reporting issues.
That's right. We've seen some limited impact as far as other sectors are concerned, but one area that's been very dramatically hit has been air travel in the country. We've heard reports of hundreds of flights being impacted, many being delayed for now, but some even being cancelled. And we're seeing scenes of chaos at most airports here in Delhi. Many passengers talking of long queues to just enter the airport, but also long queues and delays at baggage and ticketing counters, saying that flight information boards are also not working, which is adding to the sense of chaos and uncertainty. We're seeing similar scenes in Mumbai and Bengaluru airport as well. Remember, these are massive airports that see tens of thousands of people transit through them every single day. And the Civil Aviation Minister says he's monitoring the situation and he's urged airport staff to ensure that those impacted by these delays and cancellations are taken care of and that they have food and water while they wait. But most airlines saying that it's quite likely that the knock-on effect will likely stretch out into the weekend. And most airlines in India, Air India, Akasa Air, SpiceJet, Vistara, all of them took to Twitter on Friday to confirm that their services have been impacted. Manual check-ins are what is being done like in airports across the world. Someone even putting up a photo on Twitter on the platform X, beg your pardon, with a handwritten boarding card saying this is something that he's not seen before, but passengers for now being asked to wait and be patient with the government saying that it's in close contact with Microsoft, and that as far as the IT minister is concerned, he was told that the reason for the outage has been identified, but he didn't say what it was, and that the government along with Microsoft is trying to fix that immediately. But we have seen some impact on banking services as well. Reports suggesting that services of State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, Bank of India and HDFC Bank were impacted for a bit, and brokerage firms also seeing some impact, though not all of them. 2 firms have confirmed that their systems are down and that their teams are working to fix the glitch, but the biggest impact seems to be on air travel for now for India.
Thanks for that update. Neha Pune reporting live with the latest, the impact of that global IT outage from New Delhi. In Australia, a snap meeting of emergency authorities was called in response to this global IT outage. Roger Maynard looks at the disruption affecting millions of people.
It's taking some time for a clear and reliable picture to emerge of the cause and scale of this outage, but there's no doubt that much of Australia has been impacted. The first hint of trouble emerged when some airports, including Sydney's, reported technical issues. Details suddenly disappeared from departure boards, and passengers with the budget carrier Jetstar were unable to board some of their flights because of problems with the check-in process. Friday afternoon is particularly busy at domestic terminals here as commuters fly home for the weekend and leisure travellers make the most of a few days off. Virgin Australia spoke of a complete ground stop of flights and told customers that it was aware of a large-scale IT outage impacting multiple airlines and other businesses. Melbourne Airport advised passengers to allow extra time, so it looks like delays could be felt throughout the evening. Thousands of shoppers have also been caught up in the outage. Many customers who'd been purchasing their weekend groceries had to abandon their shopping trolleys at the checkout because the electronics weren't working. One woman phoned into a Sydney radio station to thank her lucky stars that she had some old-fashioned cash on her and was able to get through the checkout with all her goods. On a more serious note, banks, police and telecommunications have also been affected, with Telstra admitting the issue was causing some hold-ups, but there was no problem with the fixed or mobile phone networks. Police in Victoria admitted that some of their internal IT systems were down, but emergency services were mostly able to keep on working. However, several New South Wales police systems have gone down, restricting the ability of police to disseminate information. Well, tonight the Australian government is working closely with the National Cybersecurity Coordinator to attempt to resolve the problem. They insist there is no information to suggest this is a cybersecurity incident as such, in other words, a hack of any kind, with some experts suggesting it's more likely to be a problem linked to Microsoft operating systems. What it does demonstrate is how a simple IT glitch, whatever the cause or the source, can quickly impinge on so much of a nation's infrastructure, with the repercussions expected to be felt for hours, if not days, to come. Roger Maynard, CNA, Sydney.